Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I'm 10 Types, as always, joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, glad to be here. And I think we are looking into the future today without needing a time machine. Is that correct?
As always, right, with our perfect predictions. But yes, today we're taking a look at some cards that aren't out yet, except they're out in Japan. We're talking about Destined Rivals cards. This is the next expansion, I believe, last expansion of Scarlet and Violet, made up of the Gloria Team Rocket set in Japan, as well as Heatwave Arena. Gloria Team Rocket has Team Rocket stuff. Heatwave Arena has Cynthia's, Arvin's, Ethan's, and Misty's, and then there's also the Steven stuff and the Marnie stuff. And we will not be talking about, I don't think, all of the trainers, but we'll be talking about a bunch of them and going over some different decks and new cards and stuff.
Yeah. So there's the Japanese in Japan. They're playing what's essentially going to be the Destined Rivals. There's going to be one card that we might pop up that I don't think we'll have access to. We'll talk about that when we get there. And I don't know. It's what, in a couple months, I guess we get it. I'm not even sure right now, but
Yeah, it's in May. I don't remember the date off the top of my head at all. It might be the end, or it might be the like middle-ish or something.
okay. So but they're playing these in the City League tournaments in Japan, which they're all 64-person events. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be less, but yeah, they're like not super small, but they're moderate sized, moderate to small, relatively local events.
Right. So just to get these aren't like at international or at like regional like for size and stuff, but they're still meaningful events. These are also kind of like a local feel too, where people will play the new stuff probably more than at a more competitive event, partly just to try things out and doing some testing too for other things. But it is a good
Yeah.
source for figuring out what's going to happen next. So should we
Yeah.
just go ahead?
People also do in like larger tournaments still play the new stuff, probably a little more than they should be at times, but
Yeah.
or then is wise to. But still, yeah, these are going to be decks that have new cards in them. Some are like truly new decks. And the first one we each picked out like six or so, and your first one here, you wanna break it down?
Yeah, so this is an Ethan's deck. There's a couple different Ethan's decks here. It's built around Ethan's Ho-Oh EX. So a basic EX Pokemon can attack for 160 for what, 4 energies. Though that's not ideal, and it heals 50 damage to each of your Pokemon. But it's really here for the ability Golden Fire. Once during your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic Fire Energy cards from your hand to one of your bench Ethan's Pokemon. So really good. You have to get the energies in hand, so there's ways to do that. But you can obviously you can do it as many times as once per Ho-Oh in play. This deck plays 4 of them, the list I'm looking at. So we're using this here to power up Ethan's Macargo. Is probably the biggest attacker here. Sorry, as I'm going through. So what it does, it's a stage 1, 130 HP, so nothing great there. But what and it has an ability about free retreating, but I don't care about that too much. It's getting one shot. You're doing one big attack. The 3 energies, not ideal on a stage 1, but we have the Ho-Oh to get powered up. You discard up to 5 fire energies from this Pokemon. It does 70 per energy discard that way, so that's up to 350. You get 2 Ho-Oh EXs in play, and you attach once per turn, and that's at 350. So potentially an EX, a stage 1 single prize that can one shot everything in format. That's got a lot of potential there. So we also play with, it has Ethan's Adventure, a supporter, search for any combination of 3 Ethan's Pokemon and basic energy cards. Not great, but of course we do need to be getting these energies and such. And then this list is also playing a Team Rockets Watchtower. There's a few Team Rockets trainers that go in some of these decks, and this is going to be an important card for a lot of decks. Including there's like decks that are now current standard decks that this is going to get slapped into, where what colors Pokemon have no abilities. So, but the Ethan's deck, this is, I would say, a true to form Ethan's Ho-Oh deck. You have one that's taking advantage of it in a more potentially interesting way, but this is kind of the way it's meant to be played, powering up the Macargo, single prize Pokemon, and taking, doing huge damage with it. And then, also has the Ethan's Pinsir, which is, let's call that one up quickly here. It does for 3 energies. It does 170 if one of your Ethan's Pokemon was knocked out last turn. and it's grass type, so you're hitting a different weakness. So that's a nice little option. It's a basic Pokemon, so it's just so one copy of that slapped in the deck to give to a little versatility there.
Yeah. Oh, also one thing we didn't actually mention at the beginning. I mean, I said this was two different sets, but the Heatwave Arena set, which came out first in Japan and has this, it's earlier, so people have played with it a little more in Japan. So, anyways, I figured I'd mention that.
Yeah,
But then the deck plays the Ethan's My Cargo, which does have essentially free retreat. So that's also nice because I mean, it plays a lot of SEX and Mew EX for pivots. But Ethan's My Cargo EX having free retreat, essentially, it's free retreat if it doesn't have energy. It's nice. You accelerate to the bench, so you need some form of pivot,
right.
and also it can get stuck. So I think it's like pretty good. It doesn't actually exactly one shot everything. Like it's a little short on Cynthia's. And there are technically other things that I guess it wouldn't one
Yeah.
shot, but that'd be like unlikely. But yeah, the deck seems cool. Nothing like super crazy with it. Not what I'm necessarily super excited to play. Not that it's like actively not fun, but I think there are some slightly more interesting um, decks from the set.
Look, what I think it's got going for it, it's a strong single prize attacker, which is I'm always looking for that, and a lot of people are, right. What are good single prize attackers? This is one of them, right. This could be the Malamar of this format, right. Something single prize, stage one that one shots a lot of stuff. Now, once the mega Pokemon come out, then you're gonna have more Pokemon that can't one shot. So that's something down the road. But at this, if it was this format now, it would one shot everything that we have in our format. But yes, there are one or two Pokemon that it's not going to be able to one shot. But it's a lot of damage for a single prize Pokemon. You got to get all these energies in hand, so that's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. So it does have its challenges, but I do think it'll be a fun deck to play, I think.
Yeah. The next deck we have is the Ethan. Well, this is also an Ethan's OEX deck, I guess, but not really. That's like part of the focus. Again, it accelerates two fires from your hand, essentially to itself. That's what I'll just say for this. And then Armarouge lets you, if you're not familiar, this is not a new card, but it lets you move any amount of fire energies from your bench Pokemon to your active. This includes energies that provide like fire and something else like luminous. Also, do not move multiple luminous energies to the same Pokemon because they'll be stuck there and will not be fire. So don't do that. But Armarouge is, I think, a pretty cool Pokemon. We've seen cards like it. Armarouge has been played some. It's not like the strongest card that that we see, but it's pretty solid and pretty cool. And then allows you to power up different Pokemon by paying essentially the colorless cost using the fire energy from the Ethan's HoEX. And then we see a lot of attackers that you'd see in Terra Box. We see the well, we see two Orgriffons, not the Crass one, but we see the Water one and the Fighting one, which are both quite good cards. And then we see Mew EX. We see you can attack with Pheasant Dipty EX. It's
Yep.
actually pretty doable. We see Badoo. That's like it's pretty different. But then we see Iron Hands EX with amp you very much. And we also see Durant EX. Durant EX is kind of fun on play at Mills 1, which is cool. I actually made a video on this, and that deck was really bad, but it was funny. And then Eventual Crush for 1 grass, 2 colorless does 120, third more for each prize your points taken. So it can get pretty strong, specifically hitting grass weakness, kind of like the Ethan's Pincer. And then it plays Legacy Energy and Luminous Energy. Nothing like super crazy with the deck. Comparing it to something like Carabox, it's a little bit different, has a bunch of similarities though. And again, not like so many new cards, but I do think the deck is pretty fun. And and also plays Liz Clefairy EX, yeah. So a Psychic and a Colorless, you can do big damage, especially with areas you're under depths. And it plays 2 cups of Lily's Pearl to give up less prizes there. Overall, I think the deck's going to be very fun to play. Definitely one that I'm looking forward to a lot from this set. And like you have a lot of opportunities to change the deck to how you want it as well.
Yeah, look, we started off with the Ethos Ho used kind of the way it's intended in the set, but this is obviously potentially a more interesting option. It's a nice box style deck. Gives you a lot of types with this. You're going to come, you can obviously customize it to what you think you want to do, which is good. And you will be attacking more with Pheasantipity and such at times than you do in a lot of decks these days. So that's really good. It's a little, if they're playing a 1/1 Noctowl, Noctowl is obviously good. I'm not sure if I like just a 1/1 line. If
Yeah.
I think you need 2 copies of it each, or you just cut it. I'm thinking, I would think either way is better than the 1/1. But those are some of the things you play with to get this deck sorted out.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. It's a little weird, but yeah, it doesn't have like just the deck has a lot of different basic Pokemon, and then has some different like energy pieces that you wouldn't necessarily have in Terra Box. It's a little different, obviously in build, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and the other thing, which is a deck like this will really is going to miss, is Hisuian Heavy Ball, right? We don't have a way to. Let's say there is some new prize stuff to look at prizes, or that you can get your prizes
This
into
redeemable
your.
ticket.
And what does that do again?
Yeah, so I was actually playing with this yesterday, and I didn't play. I played it in the deck, but it lets you look essentially shuffle your or take your prizes, put them on the bottom of your deck,
Hmm.
put the top of your deck into your prizes. That does not change the number of prizes, of course. So the wording's kind of long. It's not that bad,
Yeah,
but that's what it does. It doesn't let you look at it, so you need to kind of prize check, and it puts random stuff into the prizes, so or
yeah.
more or less random stuff. So it's a little awkward, but it's like it's fine.
Right, but my point is, with a deck like this, you have a lot of one of attackers, and for certain matchups, you're like, I really need this attacker for this matchup to make it work, right? Because you're worrying about weakness and things like that. When it's prized, with you just would really like a Hisuian Heavy Ball, right? Get a
Yeah.
basic because they're all basic attackers too. Get a basic out of your prizes would be an awesome card. We don't have it, so you're going to have some games that you're going to miss one or two, even a couple attackers, and it's going to really set you back. But that just is what it is for everybody. It hurts more some decks more than others. This is one that hurts more than most.
Yeah, but I'm very excited for it. Then we have some more Ethan stuff. The next one is like a normal Ethan. This is the other, I guess, intended Ethan's build,
Right. So
which you have here.
yeah. So Ethan's Typhlosion, which stage a single prize, stage 2 here, 170 HP. So not you're getting blown up probably. But what it does is for 1 energy, you can use the second attack too. Does 160 for 3, but it's really here for the first attack. One fire energy does 40 plus 60 more for each Ethan's adventure card in your discard pile. So 4 times 6 is what, 240. So plus 40, so it gets to 280. So and that's a very nice number to get to. Ethan's adventure, just what that does. I already mentioned it, right? You search your deck for a combination of 3 Ethan's Pokemon and or basic fire energy. It's useful, but you're also just getting it in the discard pile. You'll play it, you will use it some, but you're also just grabbing it to discard it. And then to get them in hand, the stage 1, the Ethans, Quilava has the ability Bonds of the Journey. I don't know if the names are correct, but what
Yeah,
it
that's a
does,
really weird like name.
it is. That's probably like a more literal translation, and a lot of times Pokemon will. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets changed some, but it'd be interesting to see what it actually is called compared to this. But once during a turn, you can search your deck for an Ethan's Adventure and put it into your hand, and then you can do that ability more than once if you have more than one in play. And you're evolving. You're playing the stage 1 on the way to get to the stage 2, and it does play rare candies as well. Only one though, so they're really planning on going through the stage 1 Pokemon as well. So you should get those Ethan's Adventures into the discard pile pretty quickly. So you're getting to that 280 damage, I think, pretty quickly. Well, and even if you just get 3, you're doing you're one-shotting basic EXs at that point, I think, right? You're doing 220 at that point. So
Yeah, you'll probably be okay. Also plays Victini to add an extra 10 there, and Defiance Band and Maximum Bell. So you have
yeah.
some different things. Honestly, my biggest question with this deck is, and the Ethan stuff in general is how good do you think Ethan's Adventure is? Because again, you get the 3 fire Pokemon, or no, Ethan's Pokemon are fire energy in any combination. And I feel like that's kind of weak. And then I've seen like this card being played a lot. We'll actually talk about it a little bit later, I think, as well. Oh, we might talk about it like literally in like a few minutes, but and it's been played in like Goldengo some and just a bunch of different things. And I feel like it's not super good. And I mean, I think Typhlosion is all right. We've talked. There was or we've seen Braixen slash Delphox is very similar with Serena, and I think Serena is better than Ethan's um, Adventure. Like they're pretty different, but I think Serena's no like better. It got worse over time just because of it like gusted V's, which rotate and stuff. But that card like Braixen was pretty good, but not amazing. And it seems like Ethan's Typhlosion is being played more than that, and I feel like Ethan's Adventure just isn't very good, and it's just like 4 slots of your deck being eaten up by a card that's not like super strong. It sets you up kind of, but it's not insane. And then it's a single prizer and it's a stage 2, and it's not like insanely strong either. It's not like one shotting everything either.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of Ethan's Adventure, for this deck, I think you're mainly playing it to get in the discard pile, right? Not to you're gonna play. I think if I'm playing this deck over a typical game, I want to probably play one Ethan's Adventure from hand as my supporter for turn. I don't want to do it more than once. Probably, I'd like to play other supporters that are better. You're relying on the stage one to get these into my hand fairly quickly to discard. I would probably like to see the list have one or two. They play 4 research, which is good, and then a couple Arv and a couple Boss. But so I probably own Alana's aides. I might want some other supporter in the deck too to play some. I'm also trying to think if I really want 4 research in this deck, but maybe I do. Am I
I
gonna
feel like
start?
research is like your main supporter because that's how you can
Yeah,
get like I mean, I feel like that's how you get the Ethan's Adventure in the discard if you're not playing them. I just play Ultra Ball, but like discarding is just not super easy right now. Also, it plays Picnic Basket in this list, which is like kind of funny. I don't
yeah.
know exactly what that's for. I don't know if that's what you saw and said, oh. Um, but yeah, maybe that's for like Dragapult. Speaking of spread, that you didn't mention the Shaman, right? Yeah, or did you?
No, I did not. So, the shaman, and we have the side duck here as well. So, which we
Yep.
need to talk about both those. So, the shaman, which is potentially the best card in this set. It is the flower curtain ability, prevents damage done to your bench Pokemon that don't have a Roblox by attacks your opponent's Pokemon. So, it's bench barrier for non-Roblox Pokemon, which are the ones you're mostly concerned with about, right? It's these pre-evolutions to like your stage one, in particular stage twos, that you're trying to protect. So a lot of decks are gonna slap a shaman in their list. It's 80 HP, so you can't get it with Buddy Buddy Poffin. That's a little awkward. The retreat cost is 1. It's got an attack that does 30, but it's for colorless, but it's colorless. So you're not gonna really attack with it. Hopefully not, right? But it's going to go in a lot of decks. I think at least at first. I don't know if it's going to continue to see a lot of play or at 80 HP. Do you really want to burn your Nest Ball or your Ultra Ball to get into play? I'm not sure long term, but it's going to be a lot of decks. You want to talk about Shaman for a second?
Yeah, also, I think it's a card that again, you have the ADHP. I think in terms of playing it into the future, because again, it's like a new card, but it's not really like a flashy new card. So I don't think it's a card that people are just gonna, they might toss in a little more than normal at the beginning. I think it'll be, it's kind of like a meta call, but we saw Manaphy see a ton of
Yeah,
play and it didn't counter that many things. It was probably substantially overplayed. Like throughout its entire time in format. Like it countered some things, but most matchups didn't do really anything, and it was kind of bad. And then some matchups it was like good and could help you, but those weren't like all the time. So I think Shaman will end up seeing a lot of play, regardless of whether or not it's actually good. Honestly, like truly good. I think it'll be probably the most played card from the set. There's some other very good cards. There is oh, we didn't really talk that much, but we like kind of glossed over Team Rocket's Watchtower. I think that's also going to be a great card in the set. It's also like a
yeah.
countery card, kind of like Shaman. Um, and so we'll see how much play it actually ends up seeing. But I do think it'll be high, and also sounds super interesting. But still very good, right? It's one of those like kind of staple cards.
Right. I mean, what makes it a little bit interesting is it only protects non-rule box Pokemon. So I think that's a change than other cards of this in the past, right? So that's a new wrinkle they put on the card. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, and then when I've talked about it, also like what I am like, oh, like Terras have, which are most of the EXs or a lot of the EXs are immune
right.
to bench damage anyways. But that's not going to be the case after this, right? There won't be more Terras presumably at all. So eventually this will be phased out, and then this will become a bigger deal. Maybe though, in general, people aren't targeting multi-prizes on the bench as much as single prizes, but still it is meaningful.
Yeah. Well, you said this is the last Scarlet and Violet set, the Destined Rival, or I mean, Heat Wave Arena,
No,
right?
just
Destined
rivals.
Rivals. Yeah, those are that's the. But we're gonna get the mega set for either megas for 2 or 6 sets, I'm guessing, and they're gonna have EX Pokemon. So I don't know if they could have Terras or if they definitely cannot have Terras. I'm never
I
quite certain
think
about that.
so. I mean, because it's like Scarlet Terras are like a Scarlet and Violet thing. So I'd assume not, but again, that's not necessarily true, and we don't really know much about those like sets at all. I think know 3 cards. We know an item which is not interesting. I mean, it's moderately interesting, but it's certainly nothing new. And then a couple of megas which don't really have any unique functionality. I mean, they're 3 prize evolutions. They're a little unique, but nothing super crazy mechanic wise. Still kind of see what that ends up being. But then we have the other counter card to talk about here, which
Yep.
is the Psyduck. Psyduck is with the ability Damp. It says Pokemon with an ability that caused that Pokemon to knock itself out don't have that ability. It has some kind of clunky wording here, and I'm sure it'll be clunky when translated as well. But yeah, it stops like Dusknoir. It's been the Dusclops as well, and it I guess also stops Magneton and Fortress EX. There's a few things it
Exactly.
stops. But the main one is probably Dusknoir slash Dusclops here. And it's a counter card to it. I don't think it's quite Shaman. Oh, okay, I guess the most important thing, it's not going to be in Destined Rivals, I'm pretty sure. So it's like a promo card in Japan, and will probably be it might be a promo card here as well, or it might be like later. I don't really know when this is coming. It could come in Destined Rivals. I'm not even sure. Again, it's like it would normally be at like the end of the like block or the end of the like era, but then this is the end of the era. I don't really know, but anyways, it's a card that I think is it's like noticeably worse than like Shaman. They're kind of comparable. I guess potentially a little more impactful. The matchups, it is meaningful, but it's only stopping really 1/2 specific Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, look, counter decks are definitely part of the are around for sure. So it's a good card for those. It's 70 HP, so that's a plus over Shaman. It's obviously doing something very different. So, but you have a basic. If you think you need it, one slot in your deck, you put it in. But like you said, I don't know when we'll get it. It's a promo in Japan, so I'm guessing it's not going to be in the Destined Rival set, and I'm thinking it could be a while before we get it. But time will tell on that when we actually get it. So, but one of these cards that will go in some decks once we get it, I gotta imagine for sure.
Yeah. And so so actually, which of the Ethan stacks do you think is the best? Because these are, I guess, between the first, no, between like the Ethan's Ho EX, Ethan's Micro deck, and the Ethan's Typhlosion deck. Which do you think is better?
I, I mean, I think the Typhlosion might just be the best of the decks. Um, you know your ho ho box with Armourouge is probably the most interesting of them though. So that's kind of where I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'd probably agree. I don't think Ethan's Typhlosion is that good though. It's seeing a bunch of play in Japan, and um, so maybe it's good. Um, like I thought it was kind of just to throw away. Meme deck, not like completely unplayable or anything, but I just didn't think it was super impressive. Again, because it is kind of similar to the Delphox, which didn't really see any play in the breaks in which saw play, but only really within Zoroark. So I'm interested in seeing how good this is. It's like a single price deck, which is kind of fun to see. But I think the Ethan's Mike Hiro is also good. I think the Ethan Smykago has like a higher ceiling. It's a little. I was gonna say it's a lot of pieces, but they're both a lot of pieces. I think that my cargo might be a little better. I don't think any of them are like super amazing. Again, I think the Armourouge box is like pretty fun. Don't know exactly how good that'll be. It's probably just a worse Terra box, but
Yeah.
still kind of fun. Um, but then let's move to the last Ethan stack. Or I don't know. You said you wanted to talk about the stack, so we're talking about it.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for setting it up with so nicely for me. The last, it's a Paradex, they're two Dragapult decks, honestly. Dragapult's just really good, if not possibly the best deck in format. And one of them is with playing the Ethan's Typhlosion in it. You're already playing rare candies in the deck, so that's good. I assume it plays rare candy, actually. I
Oh,
don't.
this one doesn't
Okay.
which is kind of surprising. I feel like, I mean, yes, the stage one, oh, it plays 2 Team Evolution though, so it's kind of trying to
Okay.
work towards that. Although I just look, and this like seems really hard to discard the Ethan's adventures
Adventure.
as well. It plays 3 Ultra Balls, and it doesn't play any like research because you have to like Arvin and stuff. Though I feel like, I mean, honestly, one research could be good, but you're not searching it out anyways.
Right.
And then
And you have the
yeah, no,
Earthen
yeah.
Vessel. It's one Earthen
Oh
Vessel,
yeah.
3 Ultra Balls. But yeah, discarding's limited. But anyway, so what they play is a 2/2/2 line of the Ethan's Typhlosion, which is it's a single prize attacker that can do potentially 280 damage. So that's a nice, does more damage than the Dragapult, and also hits for different weakness, and it's a single prize Pokemon. So that's a really nice option. And then you have the Koala Lava or the Quilava to get the Ethan's Adventures into your hand. You will play them over the course of the game. The way this deck's set up, honestly, I think I'm probably going to be playing like two of these Ethan's Adventure per game when I'm looking at the way this deck's built compared to the supporters. So I think that's probably my concern with it. They're leaning into that supporter a little too much here. But it's just a nice attacking option in what already is a good deck. And then I'm going to just jump to the other Dragapult deck, and this is playing a Pokemon that I think you like a little more, and that's the Crobat EX. So it's a 2/2/1 line with just one of the Crobat EX. That's got 310 HP, so that's not bad there. And then it's got the ability, you may use this, bite around. You can use this ability when you play this card from your hand to evolve your Pokemon. You put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, and the stage 1 has a similar ability, but it puts 2 damage counters on 1 of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's just a way to kind of stack on top of the 6 damage counters the Dragapult's doing. You're getting some more damage from these Crobats and Golbats. So I think that's a nice way to go with the deck, and they're dropping Shaman into that list, which will go into a lot of lists as well.
Yeah, I think we talked about did we talk about this deck on the podcast before? I feel like we did. I feel like we talked about Rockets
Okay.
stuff maybe. I don't remember, but yeah, the deck is cool. I like it. And I think the Crobat line, we'll talk about it actually a little bit more in a second here. I
Yeah.
think it's cool. I think this is a solid way to play Dragon Ball. I think the Ethan's way to play it seems kind of sketchy. I mean, neither of these are like played all the time. Like Dragon Ball's being played kind of just in like normal ways, though there are plenty of different ways to play it. But yeah, I really do like it with Crobat. I think Crobat, the Team Rocket's Crobat line is cool. It's not really synergizing. Oh, actually, no, this is not the same list, I don't think, but it's similar. And it has like pretty minimal synergy with the Team Rocket stuff. Like you could play Team Rocket's energy, but that's not insane here. And then you could play. I don't know. I'm not really sure which exactly what Team Rocket synergy you're looking for here. And so it's just like it's kind of like Dusknoir. The list also plays Dusknoir. It plays Dusknoir and the Team Rocket's Crobat EX line, so that's kind of interesting there. A lot of different pieces going on, but I definitely think the deck is fun. I think I don't know. Let's talk about the next deck here,
Yeah, just
and then we'll
hang on one
just
second. So one other piece that this deck plays, which I like, it's they're playing Neo Upper Energy for the Ace spec, and that does allow you to attack with Crobat. Because first I was looking at the list, there's no darkness. Oh, that does play a Luminous as well, so you can attack with Crobat. Because Crobat's attack, you may want to do it. It does 120 for 2 darkness energies, and you can shuffle the Crobat and the other Pokemon into your deck. You discard the energy, I'm pretty sure is what it says. But with the Neo Upper Energy, you can attack with a single energy attachment. And of course, that works with Dragapult as well. So I do like that as the A spec in the deck, in the list.
yeah, it's cool. And then also actually one other thing. This is like a rant, I guess, about not really a rant, but with Dragapult, the Ethan's one plays Monkey Dory, which I feel like is bad. I don't know how much I don't play that much Dragapult. But I think Monkey Dory and Dragapult's bad. It's like hard to use because where are you getting all these energies from? It doesn't play Sparkling Crystal or like something like that. And then it plays like Crispin, but you're not like playing Crispin that, especially in this, you're not playing Crispin as much because you have you should be
Ethan's
playing the
Adventure.
Ethans. Yeah.
Right.
So it seems kind of awkward in my opinion. And not super good. I'm not a big fan of Monkey Dory in Dragapult. It seems pretty situational. It can be good, definitely, but then I think Monkey Dory is better though in the Badu Frostlass box. This one plays Crobat again. The Team Rocket's Crobat and Team Rocket's Golbat. Did you talk? You talked about the Team Rocket's Golbat, I think, or did you?
I'm looking for the list here.
And then,
Yeah. We just talked about that with the
yeah, the pinging two. So you
yes.
can do that. And then so you can get a lot of pinging. This is a 2/2/2 line, and it plays Professor Terra's Snare. It also has Kofu, which is kind of interesting. I think Kofu is kind of bad, but anyways, it plays that, and it's Badoo, right? It plays a bunch of Badoo. It plays some Frostlass. It plays the Crobat, the Miraculous Crobat EX line. It plays the Monkey Dory, and a bunch of Darkness energies. It plays a couple of Team Rockets energies, which power up Crobat in one attack, which is interesting. I feel like that's a little sketchy in this deck, mostly just because of the fact that you or they're not item locking, right? But it's still good. I mean, it's the strongest damage attack in the deck by far. And then it also plays Maractus. Overall, I've played some decks kind of like this, and I think they're fun. You were complaining before the podcast that you were saying that you really did not like these, though.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't read off the ability of the Crobat before, so
The Golbat or the Crobat.
the Crobat, did I?
I think you
Uh,
did.
oh,
Anyway, the stage one is ping two, and the stage
yeah.
two is
Sorry.
ping two. Or sorry, the stage one is ping
Yeah.
one Pokemon two damage. The stage two is ping two different Pokemon two
Yeah.
damage. And they're on play. And they're kind of like Dusknoir, but like they don't knock yourself out. Or I don't know. I think they're like Dusknoir. That's like my best comparison.
Yeah.
In standard, right? There's like the old Crobat line, which is pretty similar, and there are other similar things as well.
Yeah, look, the deck plays the two Team Rockets energy that powers it up with a single attachment. So you're going to attack with that some, and then it shuffles the Pokemon back in the deck so you can ping some more.
Oh, it's shuffled back. Oh no, no, it's returned to your hand,
Oh, return to hand. Sorry,
which is
which is
better.
actually
Yeah.
better for this. So you can start getting them, playing them down the next turn. What I don't like, first off, playing live lately in standard, I feel like half the games I'm running into Badoo, and a lot of times we're just kind of staring at each other because I get Badooed, and then I can't get my items, I can't get my evolution Pokemon to play, and my opponent's just kind of Badooing and taking like 6 turns to set up while I'm just top decking for 6 turns. So I'm not liking that. And now seeing there's a bunch of decks saw when we were looking into it. Most of them we're not going to talk about, but with a bunch of Badoos and a bunch of Frostlasses, and so that's just going to be potentially miserable. I'm concerned, right? It's playing into Badoo Frostlass. It isn't not going to make for fun gameplay.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you certainly have less options, but it's probably I'm gonna make a video about some cards. I've made multiple videos on Badoo already, and it's certainly a unique card. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not. I feel like Badoo Frostlass isn't super good, but I mean, like Badoo's good, and I feel like Badoo Dragapult, like just Badoo within Dragapult, is really good, and I feel like that's personally more annoying. Like Dragapult's just really good. Like Frostlass is
Yeah.
solid. It's arguably more annoying because it like chips away at you slowly. And you're not really doing anything. Again, as you said, you're kind of just like staring at your opponent and they're staring back at you and not doing anything. But yeah, Badoo is like really good. Not, yeah, I actually think it's a little worse than other people do, but yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? It depends it also depends what type of decks you want to play, right? So, I honestly think items are the key cards in Pokemon in the game, because you need to play, on a good turn, you're playing what, like 3 or 4 items on a turn. And a lot of times those items are actually doing better things for you than your supporters. To some extent, your supporters are getting you the items, right? And the items are what gets you going. So, hopefully, I don't want to see more Badoo in format, but time will tell about that and what actually happens.
Yeah. And then nothing really else crazy about this deck. I mean, it is like more or less Blue Frostlass with Monkey Dory. Then the next deck we have though is Marnie's, which is one of the other trainers Pokemon are moving on past the we mostly talk about Ethan so far, and
Yeah.
then some Rocket stuff. But this is another Frostlass Monkey Dory deck with some Badoo, but less Badoo.
Yeah, only one Badoo. Oh, and this one plays 2 of the Maractus. I don't think we mentioned it for the other deck, right? So
Oh yeah,
Maractus.
it's just like offhand mentioned it. So
Okay. Well, Exploding Needles, because I don't really play it, honestly, so I need to remind myself here what it does too. If it's in the active spot and it's knocked out by damage, it's 110 HP, so you're probably getting blown up, right? You put 6 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So, and it does attack corner for 20, and your opponent can't retreat. So, it's got that annoying feature as well. So, in it, by the way. So, but this is a Barney's Grimmsnarl deck, and with a 2/2/2 line of that, as well as a new stadium coming out. So the Grimmsnarl, this one has a tremendous ability, which they call Punk Up here. We'll see if that's what it's actually called. When you play this Pokemon for your hand to evolve, one of your Pokemon. It's not like you can evolve two of the Pokemon. So I don't, that's just what they say, right? I don't know what the other options would be. But you search your deck up to 5 basic darkness energies
Oh,
attached.
sorry. With the evolving, it's like sometimes they say when it evolves from a certain Pokemon. So it's like one of as in like
Oh,
any
any
of your Pokemon. So
Pokemon.
if you somehow evolved it from not Marnie, not. Oh wait, this isn't Limitless is wrong here too. So it's if you know, I'm assuming probably most of you know if you play with trainers Pokemon, they evolve from like the trainers Pokemon, right? So Marnie's
Yes.
more Grimmsnarl evolves from Marnie. Grimmsnarl EX evolves from Marnie's Morgrim, which is a
Oh, yeah.
typo here on Limitless. It looks like, but
Oh, yeah. It
that's fine.
just says from Morgrim, and it should be Marnie's Morgrim. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But you search your deck for 5 basic darkness energies, attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon any way you like. So you can't. It's restricted to Marnie's, but you can spread them around however you want. So it's a pretty crazy ability there, right? I would say it takes 2 energy to attack. With it's a slow bullet, does 180 and 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is it's okay. Might not even be okay, right? But that ability, I think, is pretty. It's really strong in it. So, and then they play the Spike Gym Stadium. And once during your turn, each player may search the deck for Marnie's Pokemon, put it into your hand. So it just helps you set up. So Marnie's deck are going to play that stadium as well. And I think that's it from actually the
Oh yeah,
actual
this plays 6 stadiums as well. That's a lot.
is all right. So what's it have? Oh yeah, 3 Artisan and 3 Spike. Okay, yep. You're gonna win. You're gonna win the stadium more, right? And you're bumping your own stadiums over the course of the game too. So that's the way it's set up. And then they're playing 8 Darkness Energy. It's playing. It's a 3/2 line of the Frostlass. It's playing 1 Badoo, and it's got 3 Monkey Dories. So you're getting these damage with the Frostlass, damaging your Monkey Dories, moving just moving the damage over. So it's a bit of an odd deck the way it's built. I gotta say. Because it's kind of a wall hide behind deck with the Frostlass and the Monkey Doors moving damage, but obviously the Marnie's Grimmsnarl is not a wall, so it's kind of a Marnie's
Yeah, and
Grimmsnarl and a
you're
wall
also
deck.
damaging you're damaging it, and so it's like worse of a wall than
Yeah,
normal, which is kind of weird. And then I don't know, there's like some interesting stuff going on. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of like we see Monkey Dory into something like I said I don't like in Dragapult. It's kind of hard to get the energy on Dragapult, and it's also hard to get the energy on the Monkey Dory. But here you can get the Marnie or the energy on the Marnie's Pokemon really easily. Then you just need to focus on um just attach from turn to Monkey Dory. I will say the
right.
ability, it gets 5 energy, but you don't really need that. It can be played with the more Pico, but that's not super strong. So um, yeah, this is definitely I don't know, it's interesting, and
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how good it is, but
No, it's an interesting deck. Yeah, I'm not sure that it's like I said, it's kind of two decks squashed together a little bit, and whether it works or not, I don't know. So it's an interesting thought though. And like I said, I think Grimmsnarl's ability, it's a ton of energy to accelerate. So can you make it work for yourself? It'll be interesting for other decks as well. What you can make out of that Grimmsnarl's ability.
yeah. And then are you excited for the Mario State? I like am not. I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm not that excited, but honestly, it was getting pretty good results in Japan, though, in the City Leagues. I think the Grimmsnarl and the Typhlosion were the two decks, and maybe some of Cynthia's Garchomp that were getting results of the new deck. So, I think it's at least it's a contender at least for being a legitimate deck. So,
yeah. Then the next one's also similar. This one's also a deck. This is the Cynthia's deck, which also is Frostlass, Monkey Dory, Badoo, Rakdos. We don't see Shaman. We do see the Psyduck, which won't be out presumably.
probably not. So the Cynthia's Garchomp, a stage 2 fighting type deck. Oh, first, the stage 1 has the Call of Champion ability. You can search your deck for Cynthia's Pokemon. So you want to evolve through these stage ones. So it's one of these evolution decks where you want to get stage 1s in play, and it's got two attacks. The one does 100 for 1 energy, and you may draw. You have 6 cards in hand, which is actually better than having to, right? So you don't have to worry about decking out. You may be alternating attacks here because the second attack does 260, but you discard all energies for the Pokemon. It does have no retreat cost, so you can also. This deck is hoping not to get knocked out, I would say. because it's a little slow, right? 260 isn't bad, but it's not great. But it's 330 HP, and then you have the Stadium, Cynthia's Power Weight, and your Cynthia's Pokemon get plus 70 HP. So you're at what 400 HP, 400 damage to get knocked out. That is going to be pretty nice there. So you're going to be switching or tanking in the active, attacking for the one attack for 100, attacking for the bigger attack the following turn, I think. So it's going to be that's kind of be how it's going to be structured, I think, with this deck.
Yeah, and I think it's like interesting being a deck that's like a solid stat stack. You have good damage, not insane damage, but pretty good damage. Like some different things you can do. With like good HP, solid search. And I think the Cynthia's deck is definitely one of the most interesting. Or I don't know if I'd say it's the most interesting, but it's the most. I don't know. It's just a little bit different than other decks, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think you're gonna. It gives you some options during the game with how you're gonna structure things with the deck. So with the attacks and which you could potentially switch between Cynthia's Garchomp sometime. You could even stream just the 100 damage attacks at times with because you have free retreat to attack. Just because you're doing chipping away with damage and avoiding knockouts, right? That's what this deck is trying to do. So you're walling to an extent in that they can't one shot you and putting some pressure, hopefully enough pressure that and slowing them down that you're winning, which is always a dangerous place to be. I think it tends to be a losing strategy. It's an attractive strategy to me, and I think other people too. This type of tanky deck that does some damage, but it also can you can get yourself in a lot of trouble with it too.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Blissey in that regard, which I think Blissey's like pretty solid now, though certainly not insane.
Um, yeah,
Blissey EX, yeah.
Blissey EX that moves energy. So, and that's a Pokemon to
No,
go to. What's that?
oh, I was to say it also draws cards like Garchomp EX with the first attack.
Right. But we're talking with the what was it? The other the Cynthia's what was the other energy acceleration one?
Marnie or
Oh yeah, the Marnie's Grimmsnarl. So with Blissey, that's a way to kind of take advantage of that energy with other types of Pokemon as well. Other, non trainers Pokemon. So just, give some options there. But
yeah, I don't know exactly how good that will be, but it's an option.
yeah, I mean, I think the Cynthia's Garchomp is I think I think it's a solid deck. Whether it's gonna be a good enough deck, I don't know, but definitely something worth giving a try.
Yeah. Next up, we have another deck that is not actually a new Pokemon. This one has some different new cards that we haven't talked about yet. It does play the new um, Torchic and Combuskin, but that doesn't matter. There's a new Blaziken. I wanted to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about it because it's not very good. So it does play Blaziken EX, though, which lets you accelerate a basic energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon each turn. Then Smolder Salt, which does 200 for Fire Colorless, and can't attack. It's not super good, but it's okay. And this is another Monkey Dory deck with Darkness Energy, and it plays just a little bit of fire. It plays a bunch of different Darkness Pokemon. It plays the Pekaron, which poisons and stops them from retreating, and then increases the poison damage. It plays Pekaron EX to switch in Darkness Pokemon and can also attack here. It plays Mew EX, it plays Fezandipity EX, plays Okidogi EX, which can do big damage when poisoned. So pair that with Pekaron EX and get the energy on using Blaziken EX, and it's got Hoopa EX as well, which is a Terra Pokemon. It's a fighting Pokemon, though uses Darkness Energy, so that's kind of cool. But then it also has the Team Rocket's Petrol, and it also has the Team Rocket's Receiver, and it plays 4 of each of those. It also plays Team Rocket's Watchtower, but that doesn't really matter that much here for the stuff that we're going to talk about. But it plays Team Rocket's Petrol via any trainer, so that can get your it doesn't play rare candies. It's a Team Evolution deck, but it's kind of like an Arven there to get that, or Buddy Buddy Poffin, or like it plays Secret Box. It could get your Team Rocket's Watchtower Stadium or Art Zone. And it can also get another supporter if you want, so it's pretty versatile. And then the Team Rocket's Receiver is essentially 4 extra copies, so you're essentially playing 8 copies of this supporter, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about a Team Rockets deck, I think, a little later on. Um, I just, since you only have one Team Rockets supporter in the deck, I don't know if you're getting enough use out of the Team Rockets receiver, right? Because you also want to get some of these other supporters in this deck. Would you be better off with Pokegear 3.0? instead, right? To me, I think that might actually be better for this deck, but you know,
Um, maybe. Yeah, I could see that. The Team Rocket stuff is kind of interesting, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about with it. But
yeah. I mean, because when we get to it, the Team Rockets supporters are good. They're not great. What makes them good is the mix of them with the Team Rockets receiver. So I'm not sure that this gets enough that we'll get enough value out of it. But time will tell. So on that. So and one just to point out, because they keep the same Blazic EDX we have in form, but they add the pre-evolute. They change the pre-evolutions. You always want to keep an eye out for that, right? When are there going to be some new cards that just give a little boost to things, right? It's always it's always out there happening. So there's going to be one or two cards for every set that you're going to want to swap out to the existing decks like this.
yeah, it doesn't really change things. Well, actually, I don't even know what the other ones were. But Blaziken doesn't play that much, but still, it's a thing, I guess.
Well, like the Torchic
Glowing review.
the Torchic they put in here, it's got collect, right? Draw. I don't know, not sure the HP, the retrieve the other Torchic, but you draw a card. That's probably it's probably an upgrade for the list and such.
Yeah, and it plays a split of Combustkins as well, which is so fun and interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how strong a deck this one is, but yeah, the Team Rockets is obviously intended to be its own deck, but obviously these are cards that can go in other decks as well, which is what this is showing with this one.
Yeah, and also the decks I chose are weaker than the ones you chose. I just want to say that I chose ones I thought were a little more interesting, but then are also potentially kind of sketchy. This is probably the weakest of them. I don't know though. We'll see.
Yeah, we both went through the Japanese City League results, there's a lot of tournaments. So what I did is I just looked at the top four results for each of the events, whereas you were digging through all the way to that down to 16, I
Yeah,
imagine.
I mean, I was just looking at the cards. I just clicked on the cards and then
Okay.
it said City League deck list that's in. I kind of ignored the placements, not entirely, but mostly. But anyways, the next deck I have is another deck that also plays Team Rockets. This one actually doesn't play that many new cards, but this plays a couple. It's an Archaludon list with Monkey Dory, and I'm not a big fan of Monkey Dory, but it's good with this card. Team Rocket's Surprise Bomb. This is an item on a coin flip. You do 20 to one of your opponent's Pokemon, or on Tails, then you do 20 to your active. But then you can use Monkey Dory to move that damage off. And then you also have it also plays the Team Rocket's Watchtower. It also plays a new Team Rocket, or no, it plays Steven Skarmory. This is a card that it does 50 to 2 for Metal colors. It's not amazing, but it's okay. It's like a mediocre tech in the deck. But the Team Rocket's Surprise Bomb plus Monkey Door combo is really interesting. I don't know the best use case of it. I think in Archaludon, it doesn't impress me that much, but it still seems pretty interesting.
Look, I'm not sure. I don't know if I like the Monkey Dory in this list. Right, the Archaludon accelerates. Wait, it accelerates. Is it two energies when it on play? Right, it's
Yeah, it's
two.
kind of hard to get that
Because
there.
because you need three energies to attack with the Archaludon. So you accelerate two and you're attaching to Archaludon. So again, you're gonna have the issue, when do you have turns that you can actually attach to Monkey Dory? It doesn't play Crispin, which it could because you have different types of energy. So maybe you'd want that in the deck. So I like you said, this deck is good is good with surprise Team Rocket Surprise Bomb. I'm not so sure Team Rocket Surprise Bomb is
Well, I think
going to be good.
why? It's like it's free damage. It's damage, and
Yeah.
it's like Monkey Dory is like extra damage, and that's really good. It heals
Well,
some, but it's really good because it does the extra damage. But it doesn't always do that, right?
right. So Team Rocket Surprise Bomb, what it does, I don't know if you said exactly what it does. You flip a coin. If heads, you put two damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If tails, you put damage counters on your active. Now you get to choose your opponent's Pokemon, which is a plus. But you're going to be damaging yourself half the time, which that's not so good. Yes, it's good if you can get your Monkey Dory set up, but if you can't get Monkey Dory set up, then that's not good. And Archaludon's 300 HP, and we've been reading through a bunch of these Pokemon that do 280 HP. So putting that extra 20 damage, you just might have just knocked yourself out the following turn.
Wait, which one said 280?
Things like
Oh,
the
I think the Ethan's one, which I
yeah,
guess
the
doesn't
Ethans.
actually for weakness, so that could be meaningful, but
Right. I'm just saying.
it's fine.
So, because I'm not so sure I'm gonna get the Monkey Dory powered up. You're gonna get it powered up because you're just that much better than
Well, I'm
me.
just not gonna get powered up. I'll just flip heads every time, or like
You'll
flip tails all every time. I'm just gonna like knock out my own Pokemon.
that could be.
One of those. Or no, it's used extra damage to power up Raging Hammer on Duraludon, right?
That's true because it plays the Relicanth, which is awesome, right? That is awesome. You attack, use attack for your pre-evolution, and then you do 80 plus 10 more for each damage counter. So, yeah, Archaludon's pretty good, obviously. Um, I, I think the card that's the best card, new card, is the Stevens Skarmory, which you just blew past, honestly. But this is actually
Well,
the good card in the deck, if you want to, in my opinion. It does, because now you have a single prize attacker, and having a single prize attacker in a deck is a good thing. 50 on 2, because there's two problems with Archaludon when I've played it, and I haven't played as much as I should. Well, 300 HP, actually, the HP is good. The big problem is you're not doing enough damage at 220. So that's why you're
yeah.
doing the shenanigans with the surprise bomb and the Monkey Dory.
Exactly.
But you're trying to make up for the flaw in the Pokemon, and I don't know it's gonna really make up for that. So actually, I think the Skarmory is actually a better way to do it because you're doing the 220. Now I can do the 50 to 2. You end up with all these Pokemon potentially your opponent's retreating, not knocked out. So I think the Skarmory is going to end up being important to kind of clean up games at the end.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, it's like not super strong. It just doesn't do that much damage. Um, but it's interesting. Again, I'm not obviously. I kind of blew past it. I don't think it's that big of a deal in the deck, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I could see it being a strong Pokemon. I don't know. It just doesn't do that much damage, though, right? And that's like usually important for
No.
Pokemon.
Right. I mean, look, I think one copy is probably the right count. It's going to go in Archaludon. I don't know what else it would go into because it needs 3. Like, I enjoy playing Goldengo, which obviously has the metal energy, but I'm not going to get 3 attachments over the course of the game. So, I don't know what other deck's going to power it up, right? You need to have metal energy acceleration to make it happen. So, I think it has value in Archaludon, though. I really do.
Yeah.
And
Um,
you're not
I guess
sold,
I mean
and
they're
that's
like
fine.
yeah. I mean a single prize in Arcaludon I just generally don't think are very good. I'm gonna be completely honest. So in what I've played, oh no, that's not exactly true. I think Pekkaron's good, and that's kind of like a single prizer. But that's different. It does some poison is good just in general. So
Yeah.
um overall, I think that I think the Team Rocket Surprise Bomb. I think it's a really good card. With Monkey Dory, I don't know if this is the deck for it. I think using Monkey Dory is what you need to do though.
I agree. I hadn't necessarily thought that through. And I do think Monkey Dory is what you need in the deck. Then you need you're gonna have to have the way to power up the Monkey Dory. We both said that's kind of the question with what deck gets that Monkey Dory powered up. So yeah, so not bad. Or we do have obviously Gardevoir EX as well, but then you don't actually need to you don't need to get damage on yourself with the surprise bomb, do you? So I guess that's not the
Yeah,
way to
probably.
go. All right, so we want to talk about our next deck now, right? Is a Team Rockets deck,
Wait, what? Oh, we could
right?
talk about that. Yeah,
I mean,
I have them in different order.
oh,
I had the Young Mega. That's fine. We'll talk about Team Rockets. That
okay.
makes more sense.
All right, oh wait, hang on. Where's the so Team so this is a full blown Team Rockets deck here. Hang on. So it's got the Team Rockets, the Spidops, which is as well as the Mewtwo, and Wobbuffet, Mimikyu, uh, and Articuno. So as well as the full the full set of supporters.
It doesn't play the Petrol, which is the one that is played in other decks, which searches for a trainer, but just not played here.
All right, so just to start running through, so this the Spidops, which is a stage 1 single prize, it's got the charging up ability. You can use it once during your turn and attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So it can be whatever type you want. It's grass colorless to attack, and you will attack with it. And it's a 2 energy attacker, but since you're accelerating one to it, you can power it up in one turn, and it does 30 per each Team Rocket Pokemon you have in play. So 6 times 3, 180 on a single prize that you can power up in one turn. It is okay. Just okay, though, I would say there. But then it plays the Team Rockets Mewtwo. I think what a couple copies of that, but it's a 4/4 Spite Ops line, partly just for the energy acceleration. So the Mewtwo EX, and you can't attack if you have four or more Team Rockets Pokemon in play. It counts itself, so three on the bench. So that you should be hitting that number. Otherwise, you're in trouble with this deck anyway. For Psychic Colorless, you discard up to two energies from your bench Pokemon, and it does 60 more damage, 160 plus 60 per energy you discard from the bench with a max of two. So what we're hitting the magic 280 number
280.
once again. So and you do have your Team Rockets energy in the deck, which is two, could provide the two psychic. You still need a third energy in it, right? If I recall everyththing correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got the Team Rockets Mimikyu, which I like this a lot. You're gonna play this in your Team Rockets deck, right? Copies of your opponent's Terra Pokemon.
Yeah, and you can play the not Team Rockets too.
Right. You just need to power it up. It's a Psychic Colorless. A Team Rockets energy powers it up with one attachment. I imagine you're not. I mean, you could put the energy in a different deck too, but I don't know you're going to do that. Your opponent's act is Terra Pokemon attack. So, but obviously there's a lot of those. So I probably one copy of that's in the deck there. And then the Articuno prevents all effects of your opponent's attacks done to your basic Team Rockets Pokemon. So you're protecting your basic your bench from Dragapult EX's damage counters, right? That's it doesn't stop damage, but it's a good little bench barrier of sorts for it. If you're playing a Team Rockets deck, you're probably slapping a copy of that in. Then you got four supporters. One, you draw five cards to hand, or eight if only Team Rockets Pokemon.
Draw until you have
five, or draw until you have eight. Now it does play two non-Team Rockets Pokemon, a Pheasantipity and a Luz Clefairy, so you've got to kind of think that through with things. Plus, it does reduce the Spite Ops damage number 2, or it doesn't add to it, I guess, right? You got some Team Rockets Giovanni, which is Guzma of old, so that's a nice supporter there. Team Rockets Archer, which can only if your Team Rockets Pokemon was knocked out last turn, so it's in a Team Rockets deck. And then each shuffle, it's kind of like a Marnie type card, right? Except you draw 5, your opponent draws 3. And then Proton, which you search your deck for up to 3 basic Team Rockets Pokemon, put it into your hand. You can use that going first on your first turn. So that's good. It's not a great supporter, but when you have a Team Rockets deck, you're going to slap a copy of that in. And then you play the Team Rockets Receiver. And I think they're only playing 3. I don't know why you wouldn't play 4 with this deck, but you search your deck for any Team Rockets any support, Team Rocket support, and put it to hand. And that's where you get this option of these 4 different Team Rocket supporter. I like that in the deck a lot. Plus, you got, like I said, the special energy. Oh, and the Team Rocket Stadium, too. If you used a Team Rocket supporter during that turn, you can draw 2 cards. So, that's a nice, so whatever you're doing with your supporter, you're drawing 2 extra cards as well. So it's a nice little package of.
And you can do it later as well during your turn.
Okay, it's not when you do it. It's whenever you choose to.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. Like I thought it was when you did it at first as well.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's good because obviously if you end up, I was going to say if you Iona, but that's not a Team Rocket supporter. So if you play, So I mean, you could play the Ace Spec or something like that, but you're probably not resetting your hand. But I guess there might be times you delay doing it. So
it's better to have the option than to not have the option.
Yeah, no, it is. So it's. I don't know if the attackers are good. So the problem is you need to get 2 energy attachments to your Mewtwo EX, right? So that is a bit of an issue, I think, right?
Yeah, it does energy switch from the Team Rocket Spite Ops, but that seems kind of clunky. Overall, I feel like the deck's just kind of mediocre. That's what I kind of thought when I saw it, and I still kind of think that.
I think what it is, though, because these Team Rocket, it's a nice box style deck. You have these other single prize attackers that are going to be nice in some situations. You got a nice set of supporters here with good access to them. That's really what you're hoping for. Is you're going to get really good value from the Team Rockets receiver in just getting the supporter you want each turn, plus drawing 2 extra cards. So you're going to be ideally, you're going to be doing what you want each turn, which your attacks aren't going to be quite as good, but you're going to be making the optimal attack you can each turn. So you should set up better than your opponent. That's what I think the deck is counting on.
Yeah. I don't know. Decks like that aren't necessarily super strong all that often. So I have some doubts about it. But we'll see.
Okay, and then you want to talk about Yan Mega?
Yeah, Yen Mega EX is kind of interesting. I guess it has the ability Buzz Boost, which says once during a turn when you move this Pokemon from your bench to the active, use two to your deck for up to three grass energies and attach them to itself. Then you can use Jet Cyclone 210 for three grass and a colorless, so it mostly powers itself up. And then from there, you'll be able to go ahead and move the energy to, again, one of your bench Pokemon, which can be the new Crustle. I actually don't think this card's super good, but it's been played some, and it says that you're then immune to damage from EXs. Nothing super crazy here, but then you can do 120. You hit through effects of attacks, or any effects on your opponent's active, which is okay, although probably actually bad, but whatever. It's better to like not hit through because I'm UEX, but it is what it is. It also plays the Dunsparce, so we got some of that stuff going on. Nothing super crazy in the deck. I'm not actually the biggest fan of this deck, but I've seen it played and it seems kind of fun.
I like the Yan Mega a lot. The fact that it accelerates the energy to itself, you move it to the bench. The downside is you're only doing 210 with your main attack on the Yan Mega. What's the count here? 3/3 Yan Mega, and then a 2/2 Crustle. So the Yan Mega is the main part. You do have the Dunsparce EX to attack with as well. And you can attack with the second attack, although the second attack's not the good attack on the Dunsparce EX, but you could do that. So and then you will attack with Pheasantipity some too in a deck like this, right? And that is a good attack.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I never attack with it. Like I always think that I might attack with it, and it just doesn't end up happening. But yeah, it's definitely possible.
But most decks can't power it up easily, right? Whereas this deck
Um,
can.
yeah, it's like kind of committal to power it up because you're moving all the energies there, and you can't move them off very easily. But yeah, you
Right.
can definitely do that.
No, right. Yeah, and you only have one Pheasantipity in the deck. Not that you usually want to, but if you were going to power one up, you might actually want a second one so that you have the draw if your opponent targets that Pheasantipity right on their turn. So, yeah, I think it's interesting. I like the Yan Mega. I'm not sure that this is the way to play it. It would be my thoughts on it.
How would you play it?
I know. See, that's the problem is you're getting grass energy into play. Energy accelerate a bunch, which is really good.
And grass is bad. Is that
But
what
the
you're
problem
saying?
is grass isn't that good, and which is why I think I kind of agree with you. I don't love the Crustle, and if that's the best thing you have to work with it, I think hopefully a better grass Pokemon comes out later on that needs three energies, right? That's really the
Yeah.
question. Or you're using it to power up like your iron iron hands. Wait, the one that with four
You Iron
energy,
Leaves. Oh yeah, Iron Hands. Yeah.
iron hands, and then you just attach your lightning energy the next turn, right?
Exactly.
Well,
And then
it's one lightning, right? Plus three colorless. Am I wrong?
no, yeah, that would work. It's like, kind of clunky. I mean, Iron Hands is like good. I mean, it's being played right now,
I,
in some different things.
yeah,
Well, like Joltik, but
right. We didn't talk about that much. I think it was in the one deck, but it's around. I honestly, I might prefer
wait,
that.
Joltik?
No, the Iron
Oh,
Hands.
Iron Hand.
I think we
Yeah.
did just the one deck, right? But there are a bunch of. There actually are more Iron Hands. I think might see an increase in play. I think in some ways I'd prefer Iron Hands over Crustle.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're like obviously pretty different
Yeah,
cards. Iron Hands is used for it's like countering more specific things, and Crustal or oh no, actually no. Yeah, I feel like Crustal is like it's pretty good across the board. They're not insane. It's gonna come up short some of the time as well. Iron Hands is targeting certain single prizers, and kind of like before they're set up.
and this deck is also playing the Jet Energy, which I like, and I know and you don't like from our past conversations, but it's really
Yeah, I
important.
think Giant Energy is kind of bad.
But you're gonna need it because you need to swing into the active, right?
I guess
On
so.
to on your turn, right? It's during your turn. You can't just so you have to swing in it. So you need a Jet Energy or a switch. And you need that extra energy attached. So Jet Energy actually I think is going to be pretty important with Yan Mega, which is probably why you're going to hate Yan Mega because you hate Jet Energy.
Maybe because it's not good. You know, terrible card.
You,
Jet Energy is like it has use cases, I guess, but I don't know. I just don't like it and find myself not using the use cases. So
and they're playing Scoop Up Cyclone, which is interesting. So they're trying to make things tanky with Yan Megas, right? That's the reason for the Scoop Up
yeah, and
Cyclone,
like Switch as well. It adds more of that.
right? I mean, the thing is at 280 HP, how often are you not getting one shot? I think that's a problem because you're not one shotting your opponent, and if you're getting one shot, you're just going to lose the game, right?
Yeah,
That's so, and I think that's what this deck's going to run that risk of. Although when it's tournaments,
losing the game.
yes, I can see things going very badly for me when I'm playing this deck, which I'm going to play a deck like this. I will do it for sure, but I'm not sure it's got its flaws.
Yeah. Then I think it's time to talk about the last deck here. This one's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if it's super interesting. It's kind of interesting. It's our Believe It EX here. This is another spread attacker. I guess we kind of talked about some and like Frosthouse a bunch and Mikidori. But Oil Barrage here for 1 grass on stage 2. It does second attack, but it's not very good. First attack is okay. It does, you choose 6 of your opponent's Pokemon, you can double up, and it does 20 to each of them, like each time you choose it. So you can do 120 snipe, you can spread things around it. It can do some different things.
Yeah, that's not a bad attack. The second attack does 160 for 3. That one's not great. Obviously, you can't damage the Terra Pokemon if your opponent's playing Shaman. You can't damage the bench there. Well, you can damage the active like EX. You can't damage the Terra Pokemon. You can't damage the bench Terra. So, how much is it going to get stopped by things? I'm not certain. And then they're playing a 4/4/3 Dusknoir, so a really thick Dusknoir line, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
and it also plays Hawlucha here. Like it's really lenient on that.
yeah, I honestly, I look at the list. I'm kind of wondering why aren't they playing the new Crobat, right? Which
Yeah.
just because they're just trying to get damage all over the board. That would make the deck even much too clunky. So look, it came in second. I'm just concerned how much is that attack on the Arboliva going to be shut down by things? Because if you're only hitting into the active, doing 120, it isn't going to be good enough, right, to get there probably.
Yeah, and if you're like sniping, if it's like I don't know, it's like versatile, which is like its upside. I don't, I'm not really so sure about this card, but it's super like it's cool. I think so.
And they're playing Grand Tree for the ace spec. I noticed that. So I guess the goal is to get that Dust Snore so you can just smash Dust Snore damage like a fiend with this game, right? I think that's kind of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. You just kind of like pile a ton of damage on your opponent's board. And it's a bunch of closest snap, 4 closest tenacity, 4 research. So that's kind of a funny supporter lineup. Obviously, you don't really need boss with all the snipe you're doing, which can really go through different things. Unless your opponent's playing Shaman and Psyduck, then you can't really do anything. But
Right.
hopefully that doesn't happen for you. But yeah, I don't know if this deck is probably like one of the weaker decks we looked at. Not that all of them have been super strong, but there's a lot of really cool decks from the set as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the side deck. A deck like this leans into Dust more than like any deck I've seen that I can think of. So if we find out side decks coming out at whatever date it is, you're going to want to make sure you play a deck like this before that happens because that would just ruin something this heavy with Dust Snore. So yeah, it's an interesting one, the Arboliva. It does seem fits in with the previous comment of the previous deck that grass decks aren't that good though, unfortunately. Or grass
Yeah.
attackers aren't that good, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, grass energy is wait, is grass energy used now? I'm not sure, but it was certainly used a little while ago, but not in actual grass decks.
right. So and yeah, and the second, I wish the second attack would be kind of viable, and they made the second attack pretty terrible. So they could have made that second attack better, and it wouldn't have make this Pokemon overpowered. So it
Yeah,
recovers from special conditions, but that's probably not that big a
it's the
deal.
same attack as Gardevoir EX. It's broken.
All right. Well, I look forward to your big results playing the Arboliva EX decks then.
Yep, as always.
All right.
But
Yeah. Go ahead.
oh no, I didn't have anything. I think you also didn't have anything. I think it's outro time.
Yes, it is. So why don't you take us out?
Oh, okay, yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. And this set is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's a lot of really fun stuff. It's a bigger set than previous sets. But tell us down below in the comments which deck you're most excited for, and if you have any thoughts for what you want us to talk about in the podcast in the future. But I hope you enjoyed. We're excited to see you in the next episode. Subscribe, like all that good stuff.
Take care.